Welcome back. This is Ganesh Kulika again, and we'll continue the slash etc session. So slash etc contains a lot of data, and it depends upon the packages what are installed, and some of the most of the user space daemons and application configurations will go in, and it depends upon the type of distributions are we. Most of the Ubuntu specific distributions they follow. They create a folder called default where most default configurations are kept in the slash etc default. And if you see there are different directory structures are there in the etc, and if you see the etc network and etc default, etc systemd, etc init.d, which is a older old init.d, rc.d, all are the older sysv init type of directory structure for the boot script. Systemd is the new infrastructure for the booting initial system initialization services actually. And if you look at the other directory structure, other important files like local time zone, there are a lot of files in the etc init. I will go some of the critical ones and other things we can ask the requirement type based on use cases. I will explain. HDG is one of the if you are using it at a desktop environment, HDG is one of the directory structure. There are a lot of files are available in the HDG. If you see the terminfo is the list of terminal types emulations provided by Linux. Primarily you will be heard about VT100, VT220, X3270, and there are extra so many terminal types are provided by Linux, and all the terminal supported by default terminal types will be configured in the terminfo. And now if you go back to the local, as I explained, time zone is pointing to Kolkata, because this is our default time zone. And if you look at the local time is pointed to the zone info database, which is a metadata provided by a zone info package for the Linux, which contains all the details about the local time zone and its details actually. And other important files is, as I told you, this contains the local of the system, that means which language and what type of encoding we are using in the system. Basically, for example, if you look at the my system, it is English India actually. Whatever I use is English India, and UTF-8 encoding I am using. This is very critical for the any basic system, embedded system also to be put locally, and zone info and time zone configurations are very critical. And if you look at other critical configurations required for if you look at the network folder, contains a lot of traditional scripts. Nowadays there are a lot of network management services are coming, like network D, network system D, network D, network system D, network D is there, and network manager is there, WICD is there, conman is there. There are a lot of network management services, and NetPlanner is there, NetPlanner.io is there. There's so many services are coming in the new distributions and new. But if you look at the basic system is the network. It is network scripts. These scripts are manipulated and modified according to our system. If you take a base Linux distro, this file contains the name of your Ethernet interfaces and local loopback device, and this can be modified and edited, and you can add custom lines for adding your network interfaces. Actually, this is very important. Actually, some of the services, if you little bit you want to use some of the services in the system, adding this loopback device is very critical, because your dbus or any other IPC services, if they are depending upon the loopback interfaces and loopback IP, it will not come up, because your dbus services are your loopback configuration is not done. Now, if you look at the dbus is a IPC service provided by the Linux for communicating between multiple services, especially designed by freedesktop.org, and for the communicating between multiple desktop services. And I will go deep into when we will take our internal classes in the next training. Now, coming back to the system D. System D as it contains different directory structures for different services actually, especially if I want configuration files also. System D, if you look at this, there are dot service files in the system D. These service files will be responsible for starting the different services actually. And in this, there are dot target files where you can create a group of services and make it as a default target, or it can be a graphical target. For example, you have a group of services for starting the service, and system D is a very beautiful framework provided by Linux for managing the boot priorities, dependencies, and if you look at the, it has more flexibilities, and there is a command called systemctl. With that, you can start or stop your boot up services, and that way these services can be managed by the system D. And all the configuration files are kept in etc system D and lib system D, and that way it is shared between two folders. And system D contains all these service files, and I'll go deep of the things when we go to respective services and explain about the respective services. Olden days there was a file called rc.local which was not there on new systems, but you want to do, you can always add rc.local and rc.local service, custom service in your distribution. That way you can always use rc.local to start some custom services when you want to do an application. Also, if you have a graphics, then you can use etc hdt auto start for starting your custom services. If you see the default, you have a lot of files in the default, especially interesting ones are grub, where you want to configure the grub kernel command lines, and you run the command like update grub. It will take up and it will always create menu entries with your custom kernel command lines. Maybe these things, those who are developers and advanced users can use this etc default grub. Other things, by default, all Linux they will come up with a service called a network manager, and it contains all your connections when you create some network connections, right? The name, for example, your Wi-Fi, let's say ABCD. If you have your Wi-Fi, it will create a file inside this called system network manager system connections abcd.nm call. So you can see this here wire connection 1 has been created. Same way it will be created in this folder, and this file you can be edited through NM2UI or any other NM connection editor, any other tools you can edit it. And this also there is a file called resolve.conf. This is managed by a service called systemd resolved. Systemd resolved is one of the service which is very critical service actually, which is runs as a local DNS resolver, and also we can configure the systemd resolve for nowadays we can for security you want to do a DNS over TLS or DNS secure DNS, all those things can be done with the systemd resolved. And there is a file called nsswitch.conf which can be used for providing us priority for the DNS resolution. Now coming back to the etc also contains something called UTEP. UTEP is one of the very important framework in Linux for detecting the linking your device identification to a respective, creating the device nodes in the Linux. As you know that the device treats every hardware as a node actually, that means a file node. That means you want to accept that for Ethernet devices. If you look at that, you want to make that as a specific node creation can be automated. Already Linux, new Linux kernel support dev tmpfs, but along with the help of udev, you can always write lot of rules where these rules can be customized for detecting when the device is plugged. What you want to do, something you want to load a firmware, or you want to create some node, or start some application, or do some operations. For example, when you are plugged in a USB camera, you want to auto stream something actually. Those things can be done automatically using etc udev, and there are a lot of things can be done with the udev, and I will go through details on the udev when we want to do next sessions and deep about the embedded system BSP customization. I think I will wind up now for the ET/etc. We will continue next session with the /libbook, and sys and proc can be covered in the another session.